It's day 5 of your 30-day vocabulary challenge. Yes! Let's do this. A video every day for 30 days to help you master 105 intermediate English words. We're taking words from the academic word list. So these are words you'll need to know if you're preparing for the IELTS or TOEFL exam, but also if you read or watch news in English or have conversation with native speakers. In other words, these are useful and important words. So grab your friends, have them join you here in this challenge, and let's do this. When you learn a new word, make up your own sentence, record yourself saying it, and then post that in a video to social media using the hashtag Rachel's English 30-Day Challenge. And as always, if you like this video or you learned something new, please like and subscribe with notifications. It really helps. Don't forget, there's a download to go with this video, a list of all the words with definitions and sample sentences, as well as quizzes to make sure you're really getting and remembering these words. You can get that download by following this link or the link in the video description. Today we're learning 4 new words: source, identify, specific, and evident. And we're looking at the different ways these words are used in various situations. For each word, you'll get the definition. We'll go over the pronunciation. You'll get to see it up close and in slow motion. And then we'll also have 5 examples from real life English. Our first word today is source. You'll see this in IPA written 2 different ways, but the R does change the aw as in law sound, also the O diphthong, so there aren't really 2 different ways to say this word. Source. Source. When the aw as in law is followed by R, the lips round a little bit more and the tongue shifts back a little bit more, so it's not a pure law, aw, saw, sars, but it's so, source. Source. As a noun, it means someone or something that provides what is wanted or needed. The cause of something, such as a problem. She's been a great source of strength to me. Let's look again at the pronunciation up close and in slow motion. Source. 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 And now we'll go to English for 5 examples of this word in real situations.
But what if you had to drive 4 hours to charge your phone because you had no reliable source of electricity?
Source of energy. An outlet that provides the electricity needed.
But what if you had to drive 4 hours to charge your phone because you had no reliable source of electricity?
Here's another example.
One source of a fuel leak may be from the fuel lines.
One source of a fuel leak. The cause of the leak.
One source of a fuel leak may be from the fuel lines.
Here's another example.
For me, nature's always been a source of wonder and inspiration.
A source of wonder and inspiration. Being in nature provides wonder for this person.
For me, nature's always been a source of wonder and inspiration.
Another example.
In 2016, I started tracing some of these memes back to their source.
Tracing them back to their source. They've been shared and reshared over and over on social media, but where did they start? Where did they originate?
In 2016, I started tracing some of these memes back to their source.
Here's our last example.
It's a source of deep personal satisfaction.
A source of satisfaction, the cause of it, a place where satisfaction begins.
It's a source of deep personal satisfaction.
The next word is identify. You'll see the letter T there, and if you look it up in a dictionary, you'll see the T sound in IPA, but this is a word where T comes after an N, and that's often a case where we'll drop the T completely. I just listened to the first 20 examples on Youglish, and none of them had the T sound all dropped. Identify. Identify. 4-syllable word with second syllable stress. The first syllable can be the I diphthong or the I as in sit vowel. Identify or identify. As a verb, it means to know and say who someone is or what something is. He correctly identified the tree by its unusual leaf shape. Let's watch again up close and in slow motion. Identify. 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 And now we'll go to English for 5 examples of this word in real situations.
I identify as a woman of color.
I identify as. That's like saying who I am, how I categorize myself.
I identify as a woman of color.
Here's another example.
They say in much of Europe, eaters can identify the region and the month by what's on the menu.
They can identify the region. They can know and say the region just by looking at the menu.
They say in much of Europe, eaters can identify the region and the month by what's on the menu.
Another example.
So I think it's important to identify the barriers to women's political action.
Identify the barriers. Not just know that there are barriers, but know specifically what they are.
So I think it's important to identify the barriers to women's political action.
Here's our last example.
And it's great to be able to identify with someone who kind of had that same experience.
Identify with. When we identify with someone or something, that means we feel we're the same in certain ways. To know that person or that thing is to know me.
And it's great to be able to identify with someone who kind of had that same experience.
Next, the word specific.
Specific.
All 3 of our syllables here have the I as in sit vowel. Specific. As an adjective, it means special or particular, clearly and exactly presented or stated. Is there anything specific you want for dinner tonight? The doctor gave the patient specific instructions on how to care for the wound. Let's watch again up close and in slow motion.
Specific. 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 Specific.
And now we'll go to English for 5 examples of this word in real situations.
So just because a deaf person can't hear a specific vibration doesn't mean that they're not going to also receive other vibrations.
A specific vibration, that one particular frequency, but they may still be able to hear other vibrations, other frequencies.
So just because a deaf person can't hear a specific vibration doesn't mean that they're not going to also receive other vibrations.
Here's another example.
And 2 specific technologies are going to make it worse.
2 specific technologies. It's not vague. We know exactly which 2 they are.
And 2 specific technologies are going to make it worse.
Here's another example.
So the science around this says you need to be specific.
You need to be specific. You can't state things generally, but specifically with details. Give the particulars.
So the science around this says you need to be specific.
Let's go on to our next example.
Now you can get the specific song that you want to hear.
The specific song, not just a genre of music or an album or an artist, but specifically that one particular song.
Now you can get the specific song that you want to hear.
Here's our last example.
It might come from a specific career-focused networking event.
A specific event, one particular event.
It might come from a specific career-focused networking event.
Our last word today is evident. Evident. It's an adjective meaning clear to the sight or mind, obvious. The problems have been evident for quite some time. Let's look again up close and in slow motion. Evident. 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 And now we'll go to English for 5 examples of this word in real situations.
But for him to see what I did have, that was not evident in his community.
Not evident, not clear, not obvious or easily known.
But for him to see what I did have, that was not evident in his community.
Here's another example.
It begins, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. This is the beginning of the Declaration of Independence. Self-evident, obvious, not needing to be explained, clear. The writers of the Declaration of Independence thought it was clear and obvious that all men are created equal.
It begins, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Another example.
That data is evident by itself.
Evident by itself. That's kind of like self-evident, isn't it? Clear on its own, doesn't need to be explained.
That data is evident by itself.
Here's another example.
It really became evident to me that I needed to shift my work.
It became evident to me. It became clear to me, obvious. I could not deny the truth of it.
It really became evident to me that I needed to shift my work.
Here's our last example.
It was evident when I would ask my 13-year-old young man, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It became clear, obvious in conversation with her 13-year-old.
It was evident when I would ask my 13-year-old young man, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Seeing their real-life examples can really help you understand how to use these words, can't it? I have a challenge for you now. Make up a sentence with one of these words and post it to social media, tag me, and use the hashtag Rachel's English 30-Day Challenge. Don't be shy, you can do this. Our next video comes out tomorrow at 10 a.m. Philadelphia time. Come back to learn 4 more vocabulary words. In the meantime, keep your studies going with this video and check out my online courses at rachelsenglishacademy.com. You'll become a more confident English speaker. And please do remember to subscribe. I love being your English teacher. That's it, and thanks so much for using Rachel's English.